everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter.
And today we're going to be talking about that legendary actor, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. Tobey Maguire.
Really good kid.
I like Tobey Maguire.
Kid, I like him.
I like him a lot.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's all right. So,
yeah.
That's what we're going to be doing
Tobey
today.
Maguire.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
And as normal, we'll save it for the end.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll try to be normal. Is there a movie out there, or are there movies out there for you that, I don't know how to say this, one and done, I guess. You've seen it once, the movie's good, but you just don't feel a strong need to ever see it again, revisit it again.
Right.
It just doesn't need to be whatever.
Right. Which is interesting because, I mean, I'm someone who will watch movies multiple times and stuff like that. So for me to be one and done, yeah, that would be a thing. So yeah, all right, cool. All right, I'll do that. Why don't I'll start off Tobey Maguire. Sure. How's that? All right,
thing.
Cool. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is his big obvious role and in his Spiderman movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great Peter Parker, and I think that's I think we've talked about that when we've talked about like Batman and stuff like that, where the hero role is just as important as the like not hero role, or mild mannered or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that Tobey Maguire does a great Peter Parker. You can see him sort of being a target of bullies, and so he's got a sincerity that I think is real. Right. I really like at the beginning of the first of his trilogy where he's just like, it's all because of a girl, and I just thought that was, it's really funny, and he's very believable, I think, as as a high school student, doing that whole thing. One little like trivia tidbit about that movie, you probably know, but our viewers may not. That scene when they're in the cafeteria, and MJ kind of like she slips and all of her food starts to fly around, and he catches it on the tray. That's not CGI. They did like 50-something takes of that where he actually caught the stuff.
See, the man is more talented.
That's kind of impressive.
No, it is.
I think that's kind of cool.
I agree.
So, but I like those movies, and I like when you're in the third one and he's, sort of taken over by the symbiote, and it's badly directed. It's not great when he's sort of in his, dancing in the street kind of thing. But he goes at it gamely, I think.
Oh, sure.
But I think that he's a great Spider-Man. I think he's a good Peter Parker. There's a good balance of I think, like I said, sincerity, and he feels heroic. So I really like him in that. I think my next one would be Pleasantville.
Yes.
Yeah, which is such a great, weird little movie with Reese Witherspoon. Yeah. And he's just, I don't know, he's just so wide-eyed and naive in a lot of ways that he loves this. If you don't know the movie, folks, it's basically it's this kid who's really sort of, he's obsessed with this kind of a Leave It to Beaver type show, Father Knows Best type of show from the 50s in black and white, and through movie magic and, contrivance, he gets sucked into the show. And then his sister gets sucked into the show. And they have to find their way back without changing things too much. But of course, they have an effect. They tamper with the reality there. Yeah. And I like him in that. He's really good, and he maintains that sort of wide-eyed innocence. And he tries very hard to maintain the integrity and the sort of wholesomeness of that, the period that show is supposed to depict. Yes. Whereas his sister comes in and she's like mixing things up.
Yes.
It's a black and white show, and things start to turn to color, and it's a great Jeff Daniels.
It's a very, very good movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's really, really cute.
And, that one would be the antithesis of the question at the top of the show. That's one that people, if you've seen it, you should revisit it again.
Revisit it again. Yeah, see it a lot of times
Yeah.
because there's like a lot of little details in there that you'll catch, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I guess my last one for him would be Wonder Boys with Michael Douglas. He plays a brilliant writer, student. Robert Downey Jr. is in this as well.
There's some good little performances, good big performances.
Yeah, there's this like it's since like 2008, 2009 when the MCU really kicked off this decade and a half almost of just the biggest movies all being like superhero movies and stuff like that. When there were just kind of interesting character studies and stories. There's less of that going on now. I mean, the big draws are the superhero movies and the franchise movies. But you get a movie like Wonder Boys, and Tobey Maguire really has a chance to shine. He gets a little silly. He's vulnerable. He's brilliant. Sometimes you wonder, is he crazy? Is he abused? Is he sort of little wink to the audience that he's just bullshitting his way through the whole thing? It's a really great performance in a great movie. Yeah. So
very good.
So those are my top Tobey Maguire movies.
I got to tell you, I love those three picks. You know what? None of them, and they were all like number 4. They were just like Wonder Boys. Wow. I had a very difficult time not including. They were all of them. Yeah, all of those three.
So we don't match on any of those.
Right. And yeah, I think one of the more obvious ones would have been to throw the spider. Yeah, because he's great in them. Yeah, and he plays a wonderful, convincing, just a young, callow youth. That's just how he is sometimes. Yeah. And he's wonderful in those sort of roles. I've got. I'm going to start with one, Deconstructing Harry, which is a Woody Allen movie, but he plays a fictional character because Woody Allen's telling the story of something he's writing. Right. And so it cuts, and then they show that being dramatized. Yeah. And that's funny because he's this young guy. He's like a shoe salesman or works in a shoe store or something. But he's able to, one of his co-workers lets him borrow his apartment so he could call up, call girls and have sex whenever he pays for it, but whenever he wants to. Yeah. So he pretends to be the guy who's living in the apartment. Okay. And this is all done pretty quickly. So he's kind of playing the young, very young Woody Allen character persona. And he's very good at it. So he plays this guy. He's pretending to be a guy. And because it's being dramatized, it's a fictional story in the head of the director, because he's a director or a writer in the movie, Woody Allen. He's just this figment of his imagination and showing him the story. Death comes to the door for the original occupant of the apartment. It's his turn. I
vaguely remember
and
this
so Tobey Maguire's wearing his robe because he's trying to impress. So he has the other guy's monogrammed initials on it. And Death shows up and he goes, "I'm coming for you, Mendel." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not Mendel." And then he's like, "Yeah, you're wearing the..." And he's like, "Oh, the robe."
I can explain.
Yeah. And so it's just funny. He's like, just out
you would
of
think, though, that Death would be a little bit better informed.
Well,
it should be a photo with the file.
It's fiction.
You're not the guy.
So all right, it's a funny little thing. It's not a big role, but I just love it because he pulls it off. He's just he's young and he's swinging and it's having fun, and all of a sudden he's got to pay the piper. The eyes change the whole bit, and it's wonderful. So I like that one a lot. Another one for me is, I know that you in the past, I think we've mentioned it on the show. You are not as big a fan as I am of the movie. Seabiscuit.
True.
But I love the
That
characters.
dog food commercial.
I love all of the characters, most of these characters, and they do such a good job. And in this one, he's a jockey. He's a young man, obviously, plays that part, and he's the jockey, but he's got enough of a backstory where now he's getting a little hardened attitude towards stuff. He literally had to, his parents sent him away. It was the time of the Depression. They couldn't afford to feed him. He was the oldest one. They sent him, and he knew how to ride, and then he was able to kind of build this up. But then he's had some hard luck stuff, including, injuries and things, and I just really like it because at the end of the movie, toward the end of the movie, he gets injured enough where he can't ride in the big race, so he doesn't ride in the big race. And you kind of figure, ooh, what's going to happen? He's going to save the day. It's like, no, he has to.
He's got a career standing on someone's lawn.
So he has to help the team that's been built up through the whole movie, through their own adversity. And I really love him in that one. So,
all right.
And let me tell you, your three picks killed not to include them because they were way up there. They were like knocking on the door, but they couldn't get in. My last pick for Tobey Maguire is Pawn Sacrifice. It's a movie about Bobby Fischer. He plays the chess champion Bobby Fischer, and he's very good at it.
When did this come out?
I'm going to guess 7 years ago, maybe. About 2015, maybe. And he's very good at it. For better or for worse, Bobby Fischer, in addition to being a genius when it came to many things, particularly chess, he had some idiosyncrasies which kind of later in life went to insanity in a way. But he played. This is during the World Championship. Is when this little slice of his life takes place, where the movie takes place, and he's very good at it because he's got to hold it together. The people around him have to get him to hold it together because now he's making weird demands, and that could jeopardize the thing. And the country's behind him because it's a Russian champ, and it's during the Cold War, so there's a lot of other stuff, and it's a very good performance. And the other thing I like about the movie is there's every movie that we've mentioned, the first two of mine, the three of yours, really work because Tobey Maguire has a certain look, a youthful look, and he can use those looks very convincing.
And it's sort of like a wide-eyed, new to the world kind of thing, but not so much like a dumb, naive.
Exactly. It's never stupid.
No, it isn't.
It's
just like, hey, I'm ready to absorb the world, and it's just like, all right, this is great.
And in this movie, he's not as young, and he's got a whole other stuff. He's got a different backstory, obviously, but he doesn't. It's much more of an adult role. No, I'm an adult in this movie. So my interest in this sport game of chess is different than being Spiderman.
Right.
So now he's like doing something a little different, and I was impressed that he was able to perform in this role and do well. And so that's why I picked Pawn Sacrifice. And he's good in another one that I know. He's good in it. Cider House Rules, but he may not be. He is. May not be like spectacular.
He is, and I'm a huge.
I know you are. Yeah,
I'm a huge John Irving fan, and he wrote the screenplay for that, and I like him in that.
Yeah,
I get a little bit wrapped up in other elements of that story, so that So I barely notice his performance in that.
But if you were to see this movie without having any knowledge of
he'd be great. Yeah, most definitely.
You would look at it differently.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Cool.
Yeah, he's a good actor, and I look forward to seeing. I don't know, what do you want to call it, like a second act? Because now he like can't play those earlier roles anymore.
Right.
In that way, he can't play them.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
All right, you had a question.
I asked you a question.
One and done. All right.
I guess
the first one that came to mind when you asked that question was like there are some movies that are just so rewatchable.
Yeah.
That you just but I'd have to say that a movie I was excited about, and I thought it would be one of these sort of like rewatchable ones, and I feel. I almost feel bad for kind of not really crapping on it, but I'm just like, was the Wonder Woman 84.
Yes.
That movie was just like, I was really excited about it, and I didn't dislike it, but I'm just like, okay,
the plot.
All right, that was
a
them.
few things.
Yeah, I mean, it had its problems.
I agree.
But
I'll
I'm just
probably never watch that a second time.
Yeah,
I don't need to.
It's one of those things that if I'm going through like HBO Max or something like that, looking at stuff and it comes up as see it again. I'm just like nah. Yeah. I'm not really good at having movies on in the background. I've tried that, and I end up just
can't do that.
I just end up getting sucked back into it. So.
And I like to be engaged.
Yeah,
fully engaged.
So, but that's one that I would be just like, all right, that was fine.
Yeah.
So what about you?
There's certain movies either because they're just heavy and you watch them once, or it's you're like, I don't need to see it again, or you watch one and you go, oh, that was good. I like the performances. I just don't think I need to ever watch, and so there's a I'm trying to think of what the title of that, Tree of Life by Terrence Malick.
Oh God!
Like I saw that once, and
That's
I was
just
like,
a lot of work.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, okay. I appreciate. All right, I saw it once. Appreciate the acting. I'm done. I don't need to see it again.
And there are some movies like murder mysteries or things that have like a little bit of a I guess murder mysteries would be like the best way to put it, or a thriller or something like that, where like Knives Out, great movie.
Yes.
It's really a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I've seen it twice. I saw it once and I was just like, oh, now I want to go back and see
how it works.
To see how
it really fits.
if it really works. And then I'm like, okay, that's it for me. There are a couple of little scenes that I might want to see again, but then I would get to that point and be just like, all right, I don't need to finish it. You know, like Usual Suspects is one that I could watch over and over again because there are so many different places.
Yeah.
And then you want to see that reveal at the end, how great that is at the end.
Oh, yeah.
So, but like mysteries, like murder mysteries and things like that you're just like, all right. I mean, the journey to get there would have to be really, really fun.
Yeah. Could I
for
watch
me
it
to
again?
watch it
Yes. But there are
You know?
other ones though, like I just said, Tree of Life, maybe 12 Years a Slave. I don't know if I need to see it again. The one with not The Room, but Room, the one with Brie Larson. And I don't think I ever need to see that again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like one, okay, I saw it, appreciated it. Acting's good. I'm done. You know, I don't need to see it again.
Yeah.
I don't, I can't put my finger exactly why, but just I don't need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they've done that.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Whereas, like, there are other movies that because usually
you enjoy the journey enough that you'll watch it again and again.
Yeah.
Cool. Who we got next?
Who do we have?
Next?
Okay.
We threw everybody into the
We
bus.
decided, actually, my wife was the genius who figured out, why are you being so stupid? Why didn't you just put both actors and directors in the same bucket, and it doesn't matter. Whoever comes up, comes up. And then we said, yeah, why don't we do that? Because that made a lot more sense.
Because then we don't have to decide when we're going to do a director.
Yeah, this way we'll leave it up to fate.
All right. Okay. Cool.
All righty. Very good.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for liking and commenting and subscribing and all that really cool stuff. So, hope everyone is having a great New Year. So, yeah, because is it too late to keep saying? I think I got about another couple of days before it's like, okay, dude, it's Happy New Year. Shut up now. So,
Nah.
All right. So, all right. We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.